these are the people who I want to appeal to. Make those little slips. It happens. You have to have a plan to manage your problems effectively. How are you going to do it? Fall off the horse? Jump right back on.
And we're back. And we're just talking about just how much we all love and Valentine's Day and all that fun stuff. And we're going to keep, since Kevin has declared it the start of Valentine season, we're keeping with that theme. So we have the lovely Jenny Lovell with us, who is going to talk to us today about handling Valentine's situations. Good morning, Jenny.
And disappointments.
And disappointments. Yeah, that's usually the word that comes to mind when I hear expectations.
But Marlene,
Is that bad?
But Marlene, since we're setting the mood,
Yes.
I have to deliver her rules this morning. I will be her first Valentine.
So sweet. Thank you.
You see?
There you
See,
go.
I'm there.
Kevin, you just won so many hearts just now for being so sweet.
I'm a helpless romantic. I can't
Yeah.
help it. And a beautiful lady.
All these ladies are going to line up to meet you, dude.
I'm going to get busted in the head.
I was about to say, I don't know how his wife and daughters will feel about that.
But you're looking absolutely gorgeous and lovely today.
Thank you.
As normal, but today is just like Valentine season is just, you just kicked it off.
I'm not
Look
a
at you.
Valentine person at all.
Well, you just got your rose, so now you are officially a Valentine.
I am a Valentine person now.
And Jaime will deal with us later for giving away his product. But good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Belize.
So I didn't miss just now that you said you're not a Valentine person?
I'm
What is
not.
the story here?
I'm just not.
With a last name like Lovell?
I think it has to
Lovell?
do. No, I think it has to do with the whole fact that I was in the military,
Oh.
and we just like we poof at
It's
stuff
any
like
other
that.
day.
Yeah,
But it is a big day.
it is a big day, and that's why we need to talk about it. For some people who will be disappointed because they have expectations, or maybe they're single and they have no one who will provide them with this stuff, and it's so important that they take care of themselves.
You know, I want to go back, and when I was hearing you say that you're not a Valentine person, it brings to mind what a lot of the cynics about Valentine's Day say. About Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, that you shouldn't be showing your love all on one day.
Exactly.
And, you know,
Exactly.
flowers doesn't mean that the relationship is great. And I hear that. Like, I really do hear that. But is it so bad just to shower someone with gifts on one day other than their birthday?
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing wrong with it, but I want people to also be aware that if it doesn't happen, because Valentine's Day can really ruin a relationship.
What?
If you have one person who has expectations and you don't meet those expectations, can you imagine?
You mean if you don't get the 1,000 flower
Yeah.
arrangements like
Or you
they
don't
spoke about?
get 12, you know, or
Yeah.
something, and your friends did. You go to the office and everybody got all kinds of things. It's one of the ways that relationships get into problems.
Wow.
But
Because I don't articulate my expectations and you can't read my mind.
But isn't there a component of all relationships that is social? I mean, if you have a relationship and you're unable to express that and you're able to confirm it publicly, then something is wrong. And love has a kind of, love in itself is a very jealous emotion. There's a completeness of it. You don't want to feel as though, listen, I can only express myself here or express myself there. It is a holistic to the world sort of feeling that you want to shout on the top of a mountain. Am I wrong?
You do.
Wow. Wow. Because you literally, you shouted your love at the top of my arena.
I did.
That's where he got
Like
married.
openly, I remember
so
I remember the discussion of, you know, having a private event, you know, with 4 people, and I said, I don't know where you come from, but where I come from, we show it to the world. I mean, if you could get 1 million people there, that's what you do.
Yeah.
You know, but can I ask this
But
though?
so many men are not like you, Kevin.
So
Men
many
are not.
women are not
balance.
like that too.
It's balance.
Right? Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
balance.
Can I
It's-
just say that?
Just like there were so many roses this morning, there's lots of different men and women.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I was asking this, in terms of the expectation for Valentine's Day, is it that we put a false expectation on it as opposed to missing the opportunity that is Valentine's Day? So if you are in a relationship and a relationship is having its difficulty, and let's not fool ourselves, Every relationship, every experience is really defined by the highlights of it.
Yeah.
So you can be walking a trail and you can be bruised up your foot, you can getting blisters, but if you see one beautiful bird, one beautiful toucan in the forest, and your heart melts when you see it, that was an excellent trip. So you measure life
There's another side to you that I like.
The other side?
This side right here.
There's only one side.
I don't know. I'm thinking it's all the smell of the roses
Yes.
this morning that
It's
has
2 days completely.
introduced us to a brand new. No, I knew he loves love.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a helpless romantic.
Yes.
But my question was, are people putting false qualifications on what Valentine's Day is? Because you can use it if you're having a rough time in your relationship to actually refresh your relationship. It's an opportunity to say, listen, let's kind of forget about the 364 days that just passed. Let's start afresh. Is that wrong?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. But the thing is that couples have to communicate.
Yes.
They absolutely have to communicate. And so you will have with Valentine's, when you look at that, right?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So your lady sitting at home and going, wow, why can't I get, I don't want 1,000, but why can't I get 50? Why can't I get 12? Why can't I get 12 roses? But he's not going to do that because he's not a romantic. He's practical. He'll provide for the kids, right?
And especially with flowers, a lot of people say, "Oh,
That's
it's
not
wasted
it's
money."
a waste of money. It's going to die in 2 days.
It's not practical,
Right?
that's
And
lazy.
if I give you chocolates, you're going to get fat. So I don't want to give you chocolates.
Wow.
Right? But there's so many things today that can be done and can happen. But with social media, people go on social media and they see all these pictures of things that other people are sharing that they received. And so we'll have to talk about that because I put all that stuff here.
Well, that's where I wanted to start because I think when I hear this, what comes to mind for me is that are my expectations about the relationship that I know I have with my partner,
Right.
or are my expectations about what I think other people will think? For example, I'm a lot more private. I'm not the shout to the top of the mountain type of person. And, if you know me, you know that. So I don't need or want something extremely elaborate.
Right.
But if I am somebody who feels that I need everybody to know how loved I am, then it's extremely important that my arrangement is big and bold and at the office when everybody can see it, rush hour
Delivered,
time.
Yes.
So it's, who are you doing it for? That's my question. Is that what changes where the expectations get?
It's exactly what you're saying. Let's go through this.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I haven't seen it, so you're really going to guide us. Go ahead.
So what I want to do is give a little history, a real quick history about Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's actually Saint Valentine's Day, not Valentine. It's Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
right? And it's a day set aside for people to show love or to show their affection, demonstrate their affection for another person that they love. And it is a set date. It's the 14th of February, whatever day that falls on.
Yeah.
All right. And people show they express this with flowers, cards. They plan special nights out. They do all kinds
Poetry,
of things.
Yeah.
And it
Big
starts,
proposal night.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it starts 2 weeks, a couple weeks before the actual day.
See, it's,
Right.
see, it's
I kind of-
scientific.
Yeah. So and sometimes it goes on for 2 weeks after.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
Because
I'm good with a love month.
it's a love month.
Yeah.
Yes, and so some people they keep celebrating. The thing is if you're in a relationship where both people are very loving, both people, this is a time when they actually maximize on Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, wow.
So the first Valentine's Day was celebrated in the year 496. It was a long, long time ago.
Wow.
Emperor Claudius II banned marriage because he felt that the soldiers weren't good soldiers if they were married.
They were
So
too
he
distracted.
banned it. So he banned it. But Saint Valentine, who was a priest, he wasn't a saint as yet. He used to do marriages in private, away from the king's knowledge. For these people who were soldiers, right? Claudius found out and he ordered him to die.
Any good love story always has death in it.
Yes.
Yes.
And so he was sent to the prison, and there his jailer had a daughter, and he fell in love with his daughter. And as they met and whatnot, he was sentenced to die on the 14th of February. And so he wrote a letter to her telling her goodbye from your Valentine.
Oh.
And that's basically where Valentine's Day started.
I had a
Later
little
on.
actual heartwarming moment just now. That's,
See?
where it starts.
Yes, it
It's
started in
rubbing
a
off.
really good place, right? It's also the 14th of February, later on, the 14th of February, because it's the beginning of spring, it's early spring. And they had, the Greeks used to have a festival. And at this festival, people would select names from boys and from girls. And a lot of them later on ended up getting married. And so the tradition continued, right? Which is it's a very nice story.
Yeah, it is.
And it's a nice love theme, and we understand where this started.
Yeah.
And if we kind of put it in that context, then Valentine's Day doesn't seem as elaborate and
So
costly.
Valentine was the first Cupid. He was marrying
He was the
people,
first
bringing them
Cupid.
together.
Exactly, exactly.
And then what happened?
And he was
Let's
put
stop
to
the story
death.
there, right there.
No, he was executed, and that's where he became a saint later
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Right. But how Valentine's Day can ruin a relationship?
Oh, you just jump like right from there to there, Jenny.
Because it's a
Let's-
live interview
know,
and it's time constrained.
I have,
Warm me up.
I have a very short period of time.
Let's take a commercial break first and then come back to that. I'm just joking. Go ahead, Jenny.
So
Okay, so how do we
happens?
go from St. Valentine, who his last words on February 14th was a love letter
Love
signed
from
from my
my
Valentine,
Valentine.
to how it becomes the end or obstacle in modern relationships.
As the modern age took over, it became more business. It became a big business
Yeah.
of selling flowers and selling chocolates and doing all these things and demonstrating your love with these things. It's not demonstrating your love with,
Feeling and
a letter and poetry like you do. Those things that come from the heart,
Yeah.
right? It's more of a business thing, and I really don't want to say anything much because I really do love that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in a lot of relationships, you see, you have one partner, maybe one who is more romantic, and instead of it being agape love, where it's unconditional love, I get something from my wife, I'm really happy I got something from her for Valentine's Day. Or she gets something from her husband. She talks to her friend on social media and she sees all these things that they have. Not all wives are going to be like that, but there's a lot of people who are unhappy that they did not get the big things that their friends
have
got,
nothing
their
to show.
colleagues. Right. And so the big thing I started out with here, it says that more couples break up weeks before or weeks after Valentine's Day.
But I know the one before is usually strategic, that you don't have to
it's
buy
economic.
a gift.
Yeah. That's-
Right.
Yeah.
But after, I didn't get what I was expecting.
You didn't give me. Okay,
Yeah.
but I don't know if you have it, because I said I haven't seen your presentation for today. But where does love languages fit in?
Yeah.
Because I really think that that's such an important part of understanding your relationship, like knowing how I want to be loved. And so
Right.
I may not, gifts may rank the 5th in my love language,
Right.
and words of affirmation may be my number 1. So you can give me the 1,000 roses, but if your card just says "to you from me," it
You
doesn't
missed the whole
deliver the
point.
mark.
Exactly. And that's the thing. That is the thing. It's become so commercialized.
Yeah.
It's really commercialized. And we have bought into it. When I say we, I'm talking about especially a lot of women. We've bought into this thing about wanting things and demonstrating your love in a very public way by giving me something really extravagant, elaborate, so I can show my friends.
Yeah.
And so a big part of today is to say to folks, be happy with what you get. Be grateful for whatever it is that you get from your loved one. If it's a poem, if it's a kiss, whatever it is, if it comes from the heart, be grateful. And if you're grateful and you express gratitude, next year something bigger will come. And so it goes on and on and on.
Can I flip Marlene's question? Part of it is from her angle in terms of
Love language.
love languages. How do I want to be loved? But isn't part of it who's also loving me? Because if I am married or in a relationship with a musician, I can't expect what a florist would be giving me. If I am in a relationship with somebody who's an introvert, I can't expect that person to. And so, how much of it is appreciating who you're with and understanding what can come from that person and connecting back to what really made you connect to that person and intimate with that person?
I'm so glad you said that. And I'm so glad you said that, because that's what it is. It's not about the date, it's about how this person loves you and how they show love to you. And if it all it is that they bring you is a poem that they put their heart into, and it put their heart into it. They're not
Or
somebody.
one single rose can be
Yes,
meaningful in
like, this
how
is
it's
so meaningful.
delivered.
You see? You see?
No, it's true. I mean,
I
imagine
get the point.
somebody just walking in just one single rose with a heartfelt
Yes,
delivery. I mean,
yes.
that's far. It's very hard. I'm not saying the 1,000 roses is not great. You see, the thing is, I really do believe in love languages, and people have different ones, and
We need to do a show on that, you know.
we should. And
Yeah.
you know, there's an app now, so you can actually have like love. Anyway, whatever. But the point is, if my way of being loved is gifts, if that is my priority, if that's how I expect to have love shown to me, then yes, 1,000 roses means that I'm very loved. But if it is on the lower end of how I prefer to be loved, then even if that's his way of loving, it doesn't
And
matter.
therein lies the problem.
What I was gonna say is that that's how even big gifts can still be disappointing. Suppose it's acts of service, and I still have to babysit the kids and cook the meal and everything. You give me 1,000 roses, and I want to be loved by acts of service, then
Come help me with the
I-
kids.
yeah,
Take the
do the
kids.
No
take the
way.
dishes. Yeah.
no, but that's what it is.
But
people love
it's how I
differently.
love, or how you show me love.
I might be wrong, and please correct me. But and we've been discussing it in terms of what is most important to me, and maybe it's just my love language, is the thought. So whatever the gift is, it is the thought. And so giving, we joked about giving somebody a bunch of roses from confetti every hour on the hour. It's not about the money that you spent on it. It's just the fact that this person thought about me and is thinking about me every hour on the hour. And
No,
is,
confetti's thinking about you.
no, the thought, confetti is just acting out. It's just acting out what my
Okay, but
thought
can I
is.
tell you, and this
So-
we're such a great example of how expectations can be different, because you're doing it lovingly. Like, you put a lot of thought. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Like, every hour on the hour. Really, really kudos to you. But if you did that to me, one, if I know you can afford it, so what?
Yeah.
Two, it's right. It's confetti who has to remember to bring it every hour. And three, if what I really wanted to hear from you, and I've been waiting all year long, is just to say, I still appreciate you. I still love you as I did then, because I haven't heard those words.
Words of
Your flowers on the
appreciation.
hour every hour will be something great to show off. I'll put it on Instagram. Look what my husband did. Look what Kevin did. But it didn't make me feel loved.
See, we're assuming that that's the only thing you do.
No, I'm just
Because
saying.
it's kind of like intimacy all around.
No, but we're
you can't
talking
just
about
jump.
love languages.
Yeah.
Yes,
remember?
but
Yeah.
my thing is that I love language.
Yeah.
For example, you can't just insult my mother and then tell me you love me, or you can't just use a racist slur against me and try to get a message across. A part of what Valentine's Day is about also curing the relationship before, because Valentine's Day itself can't, to my mind, take a bad rap simply because the person has character flaws or the relationship is unhealthy. You have to cure those things first, and Valentine's Day, to my mind, or Valentine's season, should be an opportunity. It's like,
But you've gone from apples and gone to oranges now.
Yeah.
wait, okay,
Yeah.
bring me back,
Yeah.
Jenny, bring me back down.
Someone else told you, right? Good. But go ahead with what you were saying.
Yeah.
See, the thing is that something small, Marlene is very, she would love something from the heart. You
Authenticity.
come in and write her a poem, or
Yes.
sit
Yeah.
with you, or come and spend time with
Yeah.
me. Quality
I am
time
quality
with
time.
me.
That's my love language.
Right, yeah, quality time. Words of appreciation. I mean, it's more than just the flowers. But then you have people who like that,
Yeah.
right? But you may not like doing that, but you do it to keep that person happy, right? But can you see how this could create problems in a relationship at Valentine's Day?
Because your intention is love, but I don't receive it as love. Like that's I don't. We're moving on to a whole different topic. There's a whole book on it, 5 love languages,
Yes,
and
very good book.
So
yeah.
expectations. I'm expecting special dinner, and I want you to take me down south to one of the resorts down there, and maybe a proposal or something. And you
Roses
come in
on the bed, and
you know, flower petals all over, and you come in and you have even forgotten Valentine's Day with all of this.
That's a crime.
Right? Or if you didn't forget, you bring something that's just insignificant. And the thing is I have my expectations, and you have your idea about what I might want. And then it's if we don't communicate to our partners and say, Valentine's Day is coming up, what would be really, really nice, and say something. Right? I don't know if I'll get down to the end, so I'm saying this right now.
Let's go through, because it is important. So the
Your
expectations
partner should not be mind readers. You should not expect your partners to be able to read your mind. They can't.
I thought that was a synonym for women, mind readers. They want you to be mind readers. I thought.
The greater the expectation, the greater the disappointment.
Yeah.
So we have to be really careful about it. Having expectations and not communicating it.
Yeah.
And then comparisons, we compare gifts. I go online, or I come to work the next day, and everybody in the office comes in and they talk to you about their flower.
I just like that scene. That's a terrible picture.
You're
They're
wrong,
the
Jenny.
same
You're
amount of
wrong.
roses, actually.
You're wrong.
Comparison.
But it's funny because it's so true.
Yeah.
Like, it's the truth in it that makes it so funny.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly how people see it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it leads to disappointment. So now I'm disappointed that, wow, look at what I got and look at what she got. I'm really angry at this person for this is such an insult. Right?
You don't love me as much as the other person
Right.
loves.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
This is wrong.
You see these
And it's context that matters, because the person who got this, maybe that costs what their breakfast would cost them on a day, and the other person, maybe that's their whole salary.
Their whole paycheck.
It's context.
Right. But it leads to dissatisfaction in the relationship. And this happens just for that one day. So, I'm jumping straight into tips for surviving 14th February.
Okay.
Okay. Avoid waiting for the love day to be loving. Your relationship needs loving and the love all year long. And it needs to be nurtured. Love is something that needs to be nurtured. That garden needs to be watered. You can't forget it, the weeds will take over, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
discuss your desires with your spouse. You need
That's
to be
how you get rid of the
open.
mind reading.
Yeah.
Oh.
Discuss with the spouse.
Even if
okay?
the spouse tells you, surprise me.
No. Don't be like, so guilty.
You see?
And then when they surprise you, it's like,
this is
oh,
Really? You don't
I
know
go back
better?
and say,
how come you don't know this? We've been together for X number of years.
yes.
That's a trap.
Yeah.
Another tip should be, don't play these relationship games where you try to say what the other spouse would say in this situation. Those are the worst things to play on Valentine's Day.
reading,
Yeah,
I'm
the mind
telling you,
reading thing.
mind reading
Those
does
games.
not work.
What would your wife or husband or partner say?
Oh, you mean actual games?
Actual
oh,
games.
Yeah.
That's like.
It's like the
How you didn't know
it's
that?
like the
Newlywed game, yeah.
Okay.
You all do it.
We play it on the show,
It's
actually.
really bad.
But it's funny.
It's funny,
It's funny until you get home.
Okay.
Set your expectations low. You will not be disappointed if your expectations aren't up here. And the poor man can't live up to it, and he brings you something that's here. Okay? And when I say that, it's not meant to be an insult. Seriously.
Yeah.
If you don't put big expectations out there, whatever you get, you will appreciate.
Yeah.
You will appreciate.
That's true.
Show your partner appreciation, gratitude, affection every day of the week. Relationships last versus a box of chocolates once a year.
Yeah.
Okay. Your relationship will last a lot longer if you're nurturing it on a daily basis. Okay. Set date nights. You were with your partner. Set a date night. A night where the kids
Break the
are.
routine.
Yeah. Put it as a part of. And I'm serious. Try to do something once a week. Your relationship deserves it. Don't say, "Oh, I'll do it once a month." No, that doesn't work. Once a week, set a date night. If you're single, don't dwell on February the 14th. The past relationships where you celebrated February the 14th and they gave you these big gifts or whatever. Create new memories.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's nothing wrong.
It's called Singles Appreciation Day too, you know.
Right. And if there's nothing wrong with you going out and buying your own roses, and if you really want to get chocolates, go get chocolates. Get your own Acne. Buy your own.
But Jenny,
I should figure out why you're slapping yourself.
but Jenny, I have this theory that nobody's really single.
So it says avoid 14th February pity parties.
Oh yeah, the people who stay at home and they go, "Oh, woe is me, poor me. Nobody's bringing me anything."
Yeah.
Get up and go do something for yourself. Get up and go get something for yourself. If you really want to celebrate the Love Day, love self. Love self first. Do something
do a
for
spa
me.
day.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
go down and get my nails done and things like that. Look here, please.
Yeah.
Create your own Valentine's Day plan. Call friends, go out, go do something with your friends.
Yeah.
Go have lunch, go have dinner. But get out and do something. Get out of yourself and out of the pity mode.
Okay.
Okay?
What next?
That's it.
Oh, that's
That's
it.
it?
That's how we survive, right?
Well, those are just
There's
some
no
ideas.
gift giving tips. I think the guys are waiting to find out. Jenny
to
says
buy?
to give this.
Yeah.
Jenny's not going to give any kind
Jenny?
of recommendations like that.
You're talking about expectations, right? There's this sort of inequity in every relationship, especially between men and women relationship, that there is this culture that men don't receive gifts, that it is a one-sided.
That's so wrong.
Okay, good. It's not just me.
That's
Yeah.
not true.
Okay, it's
Men get gifts.
men.
But a lot of women don't give.
It's disproportionate.
give to
Oh,
men.
wow.
A lot don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what if you are the kind of person who?
You would like to have your gift.
Yeah.
His love language could be
Yes,
gifts.
yes. Tell her. Tell her.
Long before Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
sure.
Well, tell
can
her
still do it
now.
today.
You do it today.
How do you say that? That's hard for a man to say. Without doing like, you never give me anything for Valentine's
No,
Day.
no, 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 no. This year.
That is how
this
men say
year-
it.
Yeah. In the middle of a fight. When she's mad about her roses, that's
What you talk about?
not
It's
as
me
tall as the other one is, but you don't give me anything anyway. Yeah?
true, it's
Does that
true.
sound right?
That's-
okay.
But if you love this person and she loves you, it's very important that you let her know. Because a lot of times we can't read minds, remember? We can't read minds.
Yeah.
And don't give me that job. So the thing is just say to her, darling, I'm really looking forward to my Valentine's Day gift from you this year.
And she completely dismisses it because you really can't expect to get on boy.
But if it's someone like you, and you joke around a lot, you have to make sure that they know it's
They
not
know
a
it's
joke.
not a joke. Yeah.
People have to,
Yeah.
yeah.
We can't mind read. You know? And the thing is, we really have to do a show on love languages.
I think so. I think we might have you before Valentine's Day. That's a great time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's life changing when you realize that people. It's exactly what you said. Women are from Mars. Women are whatever.
Men are
Whatever
from
it is.
Women are from
Yeah.
Venus, men are from Mars.
But
Yeah.
it's a similar principle that we just, not men and women, but people just love differently.
Yes, we do.
Even kids. So.
Yep.
All right.
All right. So closing shot as people prepare for a big Valentine's Day.
Enjoy your gifts. Be grateful. Let people know that you appreciate what they do for you. And if there's something that you receive that you're really not thrilled with, still be thrilled. Be thrilled because they gave it to you. I'm serious. If someone just gives you a rose,
Oh, well, see?
be grateful.
Yeah.
Be very grateful because you got a rose. And I just think it's so beautiful for someone to give you something.
And if you want to give, you just say it.
Say it. Be honest. Be straight up. Darling,
Love it.
I'm looking forward to what you're going to get me this year.
I'm looking forward to a gift that costs more than.
No, man.
Oh, no? Sorry. It's a joke.
To each their own. I know. All right. So do you have any great Valentine's gift that you can think of over the course of life that you've heard of or experienced on your own? I really put you on the spot.
One time somebody gave me a puppy and I was not happy.
But you know, it's like you were saying.
What about you? What's your best Valentine gift?
Well, my best Valentine's story was, being a student and being away. And you're on a student budget. And so there for a couple of weeks, completely, discombobulated, thinking about how to express, the appreciation for what was going on. And I was just stumped. We went into some financial hardship because we were living together. And I was completely giving up. And then 2 days before, I sat and said, you know what am I feeling? And how can I let the other person know that? Mm-hmm. And I came up with this idea of writing. And so I wrote a bunch of clues. The first one beside the bed with a flower from outside, right from outside the garden. We lived downstairs from our landlord. And I put that on the bed. And that was the first clue. And I went down to the shop and I left a series of clues. And at the end of the clues, I write poetry. And at the end of it was one long poem that I had written 2 days before. And when I came back to the house, I met, this waterworks. And when we went to school and everybody else was doing their whole flowers thing and roses thing, she was completely like, yeah, like flowers. I don't want that. And for me, that stood with me because it made me realize that it's not what you give, it's what it means.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was my story.
Exactly. That's wonderful.
And I hope I can still get in my house after this.
All right, and there you have it. That's our conversation on how to handle Valentine expectations and disappointments. Thank you again, Jenny.
My pleasure.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, as you get all dolled up for the date on Valentine's Day, we're going to talk about some of the lashes being produced by our very own Belizean makeup artist, Tanya Tanisha. That's coming up after the break.
Yeah.
These are the people who I want to appeal to. Make those little slips. It happens. You have to have a plan to manage your problems effectively. How are you going to do it? Fall off the horse? Jump right back on.